What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be reacting to the new horror games, what will be coming out. I'm not sure if it's 2021 or 2020, whatever it is. It's going to be on PlayStation 5. Horror games. Let's do this.
The newest generation of console gaming is here, but there are already some really compelling horror titles and games with heavy horror elements to look forward to. From the supernatural to the psychologically terrifying, here are 12 such games for the PlayStation 5 that you should look into, if you dare. Ghostwire Tokyo. Though more of a supernatural action-adventure game, there's plenty of frightenings going on in Ghostwire Tokyo. Most of the city's population has vanished, followed by the arrival of visitors, hostile spirits based on Japanese folklore. There's one resembling the Kuchisake Onna, a slit-mouthed woman that goes around scarring people's faces with scissors. Faceless, suit-wearing foes can be seen which bear a strong resemblance to Slender Man, and there are headless spirits running around as well. That's not including the mysterious Hanya mask-wearing group who have their own motives. Ghostwire Tokyo is currently slated to release in 2021 for the PS5 and PC first. Resident Evil Village. Between werewolves, evil Chris Redfield, and possible vampires, to say nothing of Las Plagas potentially returning, Resident Evil Village is shaping up to be quite the horrifying experience. Traversing the dark forests and walking through the desolate village, which the development team insists has a character of its own, conveys a pretty strong sense of dread, at least in the gameplay footage seen thus far. Whether it will pack as many freaky creatures as Resident Evil 7 Biohazard remains to be seen, but so far, we're hooked. Resident Evil Village is out next year for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Observer System Redux. Currently available for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, Observer System Redux leans further into the dark sci-fi future aesthetic of cyber plagues and neural dreamscapes. The overall system of hacking into a person's cerebral implants, traversing nightmarish landscapes, was already pretty trippy when the game first released. But System Redux further ups the ante with improved textures and character models, brand new animations, 4K resolution, HDR, and ray tracing. There are even 3 new side cases that delve further into the game's dystopian future. Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Hardsuit Labs' long-delayed sequel to the beloved cult classic is a role-playing game first and foremost. Heck, you start the game as a freshly turned vampire after several others attack humans en masse. From there, it's all about allying with a clan, feeding on the general populace for that all-important blood, and tearing apart your foes with powerful abilities. Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is currently set to release in 2021 for previous and current-gen consoles. Little Nightmares 2. The Maw was a terrifying place already, but the Pale City in Little Nightmares 2 already looks way more terrifying. Disembodied mannequin limbs traverse the hallways of hospitals, looking to snare Mono and Six. The smiling teacher stretches and bends her neck around obstacles to find them. And of course, there's the Thin Man himself, ever present in the various TVs dotting the streets. If you liked the first game and wanted the creepiness factor dialed up to 11, then Little Nightmares 2 looks set to deliver. It's out in February 2021 for previous and current-gen platforms. Dying Light 2. Ever since its delay, there have been very few details about Dying Light 2. As such, what we know is already intriguing enough. The infected return, sure, but the true horror seems to lie in what the various factions of the city will do. Make one wrong move and you could find gangs roaming about, committing atrocities. We'd like to think there are some truly terrifying creatures that await as well, possibly even worse than the last game's volatiles. Now, as for whether it will even release next year or later, remains to be seen. Atomic Heart. Mundfish's Atomic Heart takes place in an alternate Soviet Union-dominated universe. As a special agent, the player must infiltrate something called 3826 after contact with it was lost. Thus far, we've seen pristine environments masking blood-coated interiors, deranged robots, and inexplicable phenomenon. It looks genuinely intriguing. Though Mundfish hasn't provided a solid release date till now, regardless, Atomic Heart is currently planned for previous and current-gen platforms. Quantum Error. What seems like a fire emergency in the Monad research facility, prompting Captain Jacob Thomas and his crew to investigate, quickly gives way to cosmic horror shenanigans in Quantum Error. The facility is completely locked down, and all kinds of nightmarish creatures roam about. It's up to the player to rescue as many survivors as possible and ideally resolve this whole mess. though recent gameplay has hinted at traveling beyond the confines of this dimension. Quantum Error is slated to release in 2021 for previous and current-gen consoles. Returnal. In your typical roguelite, death is merely a means to an end. Returnal embodies that, but with a heavier story focus, set in a gorgeous but ultimately hostile alien world teeming with monstrous creatures big and small. That's not even taking the foreboding environment into account, which constantly shifts in each new playthrough and offers new mysteries to solve. What is the purpose behind the protagonist's visions, and just how badly will they affect her sanity? We'll find out when Returnal launches next year for the PS5. Martha is Dead. From LKA, Martha is Dead is completely different from the studio's previous title, The Town of Light. It's set during World War II, but focuses on a woman whose twin sister, Martha, is dead. Big spoiler, we know. The war provides a harrowing backdrop, but there's something more disturbing brewing. Look no further than the reveal trailer showcasing someone, or something, delicately cutting, removing, and seemingly wearing a woman's face. In terms of sheer disturbing creepiness, Martha is Dead should be worth watching out for when it launches next year. Monstrum II. An asymmetrical multiplayer game like Dead by Daylight, Team Junkfish's Monstrum II is about 4 players working together to escape a labyrinthine fortress while a player-controlled monster pursues them. Lighting and shadow play a role in how the players run and hide, while the fortress's layout changes with each match, providing new obstacles and puzzles to surmount. Monstrum II looks very promising and will release in early access for PC in 2021, with subsequent releases on PS5 and Xbox Series X later. Control Ultimate Edition. Remedy Entertainment's Control isn't known for its sheer range of grotesque sights or survival horror mechanics. Instead, it's the creepy presentation which draws you in, playing on your perception of reality. If it's not bodies floating around innocuously, then it's the shifting nature of the oldest house and its many secrets. Couple this with the 2 expansions, The Foundation and AWE, the latter featuring spooky writer extraordinaire Alan Wake, and Control Ultimate Edition will be worth checking out on the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S when those versions launch next year. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and
Chat. I mean, the other horror games aren't that scary, but the one I'm really looking for is the Resident Evil Village. That one looks good. So we might play that one in the future. More reactions coming. I appreciate you guys watching this one. And, yeah, have a good one, chat.